Hi everyone, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Smriti from the People Matters team, and it's an absolute pleasure to welcome you to our live product showcase exploring Era by HONO, the world's first headless HRMS. Now, across Asia and beyond, organizations are essentially accelerating their digital transformation journeys while also managing distributed, multilingual, and rapidly growing workforces. Now, as organizations expand across markets, the real challenge ceases to be merely about digitizing HR processes. Rather, it's about creating experiences that are intuitive, responsive, and seamlessly integrated into the flow of work. Now, today's session, presented in partnership with HONO, will introduce ERA, the world's first headless HRMS. Together, we'll explore what a headless HRMS really means, why it's emerging as the next evolution in enterprises, and how ERA is redefining employee and HR interactions through conversational AI agents, workflow orchestration, and no-code automation. Now, to lead today's discussion, we are joined by two exceptional leaders from HONO. First up, we have Prashant Padarthi, who's the co-founder and CTO of HONO. We are delighted to have you with us today, Prashant.
Thank you. Thank you, Smriti. Thank you, everyone.
Awesome. Joining Prashant is Amandeep Singh Minhas, who's the head of operations EMEA at HONO. Wonderful to have you with us today, Aman.
Thank you, Smithy. Glad to be here. Hi, everybody.
Great, awesome. Now, before we really dive into the session, a quick note to audience. Please feel free to share questions in the chat throughout the session. We'll be taking it towards the end of our Q&A segment in the end. Now, with that, I'll hand it over to you, Aman. The stage is all yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Smithy. All right. Let's go. All right. First of all, thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for taking time out from your busy schedules to be part of this live product showcase. This is Hono and Prasant, who's our CTO. He and his brilliant team have built something really cutting edge using the latest in AI technologies. And we'll walk you through how that is changing the game for HRMS from an experience perspective for all HR organizations across the globe. We are calling it ERA, and it is the world's first headless zero UI HRMS. Now, first things first. What exactly is a headless zero UI HRMS? Some of you must be wondering. So let's take a quick look at that. What it really means is that the HR engine stays in the background, so that a lot of the heavy lifting gets done there, and it continues to be getting done there. But then the front end navigation, that just disappears, and the experience layer becomes completely conversational. If you think about any traditional HRMS, what you really need to do to use it across roles, across departments, across organizations, across industries, is you need to log in, or maybe there's a single sign on, but then you need to go to a page or look through a menu, click on the right option, scroll up or down a specific page, fill up fields on forms, and click on buttons like submit, etc. Now that's traditional HRMS for you. We with ERA are changing that experience entirely, right? What we are enabling via ERA by HONO is making it completely zero UI. And what that means is that the interface turns into language. So language becomes your interface. And anything that you want to do, whether you're an employee or an HR person or a CXO of an organization, you have one conversational interface. You ask a question to ERA, or give it a instruction in your preferred native language, because ERA understands all languages, no matter which one it is, and it will take care of your request. It will answer your query, or it will execute a transaction based on your instruction provided. Right? So that's fundamentally what headless zero UI HRMS is. And it doesn't even have to be our interface that you use. You can actually connect ERA at the backend, powering your existing conversational interfaces, like maybe MS Teams, or maybe you have one of your own chatbots that is already being used by your employees. We can empower it by ERA at the backstage, and you get all the benefits of ERA, and your employees don't have to move to a new screen. So that's what headless zero UI HRMS is all about. Okay, why should it matter for HR? Well, to begin with, I'm sure all of you will agree that one of the biggest challenges that HR teams globally face after deploying an HRMS system is adoption. And why is adoption a problem? It is quite often a problem, and it is fundamentally so because adoption is a problem in the areas of use of access combined with use of ease of use, right? If you have any problem in if you make use of access challenging, if you make ease of use difficult, then there will definitely be and inevitably be adoption problems. And with Era by Hono, all of that gets taken care of. Adoption problems drop down to zero. There is zero training required, and 100 adoption is guaranteed, because there is nothing to learn. There is no navigation to learn, no menu options to learn about or get trained on, nothing of that sort. So zero training, 100% adoption. uh, because it is one single interface, and you can choose whether you want to use our own default conversational layer, the screen, or whether you want to enable it from the backend and keep and have your employees continue to use their existing chatbot, or maybe a screen like MS Teams. It is able to give access to all employees across the organization, irrespective of roles, irrespective of employment category, whether it's blue collars, white collar, staff worker, doesn't really matter. And when all of that happens, when adoption issues go away, then the HR teams, which actually work very hard on ensuring adoption of technologies that they've onboarded by employees, they can actually use all of that saved time on doing meaningful strategic work, helping the organization become better and grow faster. And then because this is completely agentic AI powered, things like analytics on demand are possible, insights are available on demand, and all of those abilities enable especially CXOs and other seniors like HODs, heads of departments, to get all the information and support they need at the moment, right on demand, to take the best decisions to move the organization forward as desired. Now, from a persona perspective, there are multiple personas that HRMS users that are spread across HRMS users. So this one single conversation layer actually serves each of one of the five personas, and each one of the five personas can use Era by Hono on their own terms. So whether it's the employee, this is the highest headcount anywhere, they can actually use Era to look at their any information, whether it's employment related or whether it's personal details. They can look all that up. They can even ask complex queries which normal AI chatbots fail to answer, like, I want to take a leave of 2 weeks in 2 months from today, and I want my leave balance to be minimally impacted. What do I do? Era will actually take care of that request and come back to you with the best dates that you should apply, use for that leave application, so that your leave balance quota is minimally used, and it will make all those recommendations to you, like and it's also it's kind of enabling a chat GPT experience or a Claude experience right inside your HRMS. Leveling up, there is the second persona, which is the people manager persona. They of course are focused more on team management, ensuring the team is doing better, trying out ways to be kept updated about how the team is doing. Are there any problems, something that they need to look at? All of that they can do via a conversation using Era by Hono. And if we still level it up further, then there are the heads of departments, who are of course accountable for the performance of entire departments. Their role is similar to the people manager role, but the span is just much greater. And because of that much greater span, the responsibility and the kind of data and insights that they would be interested in, it just kind of changes dramatically. And then we have the HR teams, right? All of us, most of us here are leaders from the HR domain, and we are focused on ensuring that the right policies, processes are in place, the adherence of those policies and processes, identifying any challenges across any corner of the organization, uh, taking the right decisions to move the organization forward faster. And all of the work that is enabled by an HRMS system is now available for HR, and gets taken care of using just a simple conversation. And then the last persona is that of a CXO, where it is all about strategy. It is all about meaningful, actionable insights, because they are the decision makers, where even if one decision goes wrong, it can have a serious negative impact on the organization's health. And any information that they want from the HRMS system, they don't need to write an email to anybody, they don't need to make a call to anybody, they don't need to drop a message to anybody. All that they need to do is have a conversation with Era by Hono, and whatever they want from the HRMS system, based on the data available in the system, will be made available on demand, real time. All right. Now, Era is, of course, we are an HRMS solution provider, of a full stack at that. We take care of end-to-end digitization and automation of HR processes, including payroll. But Era is not restricted to help you only with HR-related stuff. It can actually be your single point of contact for all your enterprise systems. So we do, of course, give you HONO HRMS as the backend on which Era sits from an HRMS perspective. But if you want, you can also connect any of your other systems, enterprise systems, like maybe you have a CRM, or maybe a finance system, or maybe a ticketing system. If there's MCP or API connectors available, then Era can be connected to all of those enterprise systems, and you can have multi system related conversations with Era, and Era will come back to you with the right answers, picking up the right information from whichever system has it and is connected to Era. Right. So here I'm showing you an example. So show me my sales bottom performers for the previous quarter and get me the correlation with leave and attendance for them. Now here in this kind of an example, there are two systems that it needs to connect to. Maybe it needs to connect to Salesforce to get the sales numbers or the sales information or the sales insights from there, and then it needs to correlate that with leave and attendance, which of course forms a part of the HRMS system. So it connects to two systems which are already connected, and then gets back to you with the right answer and the information that you're looking for. So and that was just one very simple example. The limits are endless, like they're infinite, right? So you can have multiple HRMS systems based on whichever modules you're using across whichever system. If you like, you can have all of those connected. You can have CRMs like Salesforce, HubSpot, Zoho. You can have finance systems like FICO and Dynamics, and you can have ticketing systems like ServiceNow, Jira, Freshservice, etc. All of these systems can be connected to Era, and Era will become your one single point of contact or conversation to use any of these systems from across your enterprise technology suite. And that's the power of Era by Hono that becomes available to you when you subscribe to it. Okay, now we did a webinar recently, just a day ago, and we received some questions, and we've also been receiving a lot of queries from a lot of HR leaders across countries. And on this slide, what I'll do is I'll answer the top ones, the top 5 ones that we've received, which have been asked most frequently. Okay, so the first one: how is it different from other AI chatbots? Right? You might be wondering that right now, but I'm sure by the time Prasant is done with showcasing you the live product showcase, all that doubt will just go away. But just to let you know, Era by Hono is not a bot. It is your complete HRMS actually. It acts on the data. So you will have Hono HRMS in the background, or any other HRMS if you want to enable the Era layer on top of your existing one, because that's also technically possible. We can do that for you. It acts on live data that's available in the backend HRMS and takes care of all HR related tasks and queries that need the HRMS system to be answered. And it gives you, as I've already shared, it will give you multi-system conversational ability as well. Let's look at the second one. So the second one is, okay, so it's agentic. So does that mean a user who's using it can ask the agent to share somebody else's information? No, absolutely not. So Era by Hono will work strictly within the user's existing roles and permissions. So there's a terminology you might have heard. It's called RBAC, role-based access control. It works on HRMS systems, and it is exactly what will drive in sharing of information in via Era as well. And every action that is taken using Era also gets logged. So there is absolutely no need to be concerned about privacy and data security at all. All right. The third one that we hear very often is what about usage or token charges becoming too much? Very valid concern. We have started to now read a lot of news as well about companies burning a lot of tokens. Now we have always known this because we understand this technology, the LLM technology, really well. We knew that sooner or later this will become a point of concern for potential subscribers or for HR leaders or for whichever team is using it. And we have from the ground up designed it to have guardrails, effective guardrails in place. Guardrails like you can set limits on, and you can do that at the employee level. You can set limits on how many messages can be sent per conversation. Why is that important? Because the longer the higher the number of messages in one single conversation, the larger is the context that LLMs use to respond to your next query, because to every query that you ask, it will look at all the messages within that same conversation. And as that list grows longer and longer, the context becomes larger and larger, and the consumption of tokens increases accordingly. So you can put number of messages per conversation, you can put a limit on that. You can put a limit on how many messages per day can be sent by somebody. It could be an employee, it could be a role, it could be a department, it could be a location, whatever you want. And then we have also enabled real time consumption dashboards, which will always keep you updated about what is the exactly the cost that you're incurring, because you're using this high tech agentic AI powered system. And then based on the limits and based on whatever decisions you need to take, you can switch things on and off. And during the showcase, Prasant will show you a couple of screens where you can do that as well, and you can see it how that works. Let's look at the next one. So can users be restricted to specific queries? Absolutely. Absolutely. Whatever happens in Era, whatever can be done in Era will be governed by you. You will decide what any role or any function can do after a user is logged in. So the personas can only evoke what you as HR decision makers will allow it to. And then the last one, can I continue using my own chatbot but powered by Era? Some organizations already have some basic chatbots put in place already, and they don't really want to change the interface for their employees because their employees are already used to it. Absolutely can be done. And that is the power of a headless system. You don't need our interface, you don't mandatorily need our interface. You can continue to have your employees use your existing chatbot front end, or the screen wherever they use wherever they type their queries or make their requests. And Era can be the brain behind that existing front end, and Era can enable all the wonderful things that Prasant will showcase to us in a minute. Right. So those are the top questions. I hope I'm sure some of you, or maybe I think most of you, would have a lot of these already in mind. I hope I was able to clarify it. If there is still any doubt, I'm 100% confident that Prasant's showcase will take care of all of that. And by the end of this, you will be absolutely clear about the value that Era by Hono delivers to our subscribers. Right. So having said that, Prasant, I invite you to showcase what we have built, the amazing technology that we now have on offer for HR teams across the world, for all organizations, across industries, across all sizes.
Thank you, Aman, and welcome and thank you to everyone who have joined us the session today. So let's quickly see the demo because we have listened a lot to Aman what he have mentioned about Era. So and now it's time to see how it actually works, and we will take up the QAs towards the end. We will have 10 minutes to take up and then start doing it. So hope my screen is visible. Aman, if you can confirm.
Yes, I can see it now.
Okay. So what we have done is like a chat-like interface, so which is called a headless HRMS, zero UI. So which means typically like there is no screens, navigations, menus, nothing. So it's all like a single chat window, which we are very much used to nowadays by using ChatGPT or Claude on our day-to-day life for different other purposes. Can be for personal or can be for official purposes, either for revamping our emails or for asking for a code help or creating a document, report, anything and everything, including even nowadays with all the connectors in place, like people are able to even connect their OneDrives or Google Drives also to these tools and able to make best use of those things. So when these things are all being done, so why the HR activities alone has to still go through the traditional practices? That's one idea which made us to make HR systems also evolve and make it chat driven, so that everything, the entire system can be chat through the application. Before I jump into starting the conversations, just to highlight like how exactly the entire system is working. So the whole chat driven system is actually utilizing in the background a list of hundreds of tools from the HR product that are utilized actively by the LLM engines to see like what is the user's request and how that request can be served by utilizing like what API or what tool within the system. It is actively sourcing that and utilizing the user's own access limits and get that information over there, which means this sits on top of our HRMS system and gets the information with the same access controls that has been put up over there, so that the system won't try to get any information that is not enabled or that is not allowed for the particular user over there. So now that we are seeing here, so the system will be pretty much like ChatGPT or Cloud, where you'll be able to see all the history of conversations happening, as well as like a landing page where it'll also have some quick links with that are mostly used are the organization defined, and we can also see some kind of like trying out options which were being widely used, but as a user I haven't tried it out. The system is actively prompting. So this is one of the biggest ROI that the era is going to bring to the HR systems, where if in case by giving access to the LLMs, people still will not be able to understand like what are the different things they can do or they should be able to do. So this is where ERA is a step ahead and tries to also observe other people patterns and then suggests to the others who are not using to the maximum extent to make the best ROI out of it. So let's take a quick look at like how the system will start working. So either people can chat or like they can also see the enormous amount of tools that are supported by the platform. They'll be able to just go and choose any of those things. These things are kind of like the skills that we use on a day-to-day basis. So the system also supports like, let's say if you want to have or keep some quick commands or slash commands, we call it as like in LLM terminologies. So it can be utilized and can be assessed as well. So where the system can go and then get that information over there. And let's say we're checking about a day start, how should the employee should be aware or like a manager should be having an access to. The system then goes and checks about like what are the different other things that you can go and check the information about. Let's say in this case I have asked about like what is the pending approvals for me to take an action on, how is my team looking like, are there any celebrations, something like that, and how much of leave balance. So all these informations in one go without the need for like jumping into multiple other things. So I created a quick query for myself which is beneficiary for me on a day-to-day activity. So that helps me understand like there is a couple of guys who are celebrating some birthdays and anniversaries, and there are also like this many leave requests and attendance requests and separation requests and leave balances available for me at a quick glance over there. Let's say for example now that it is showing that I have 21 days of leave balance. So the user might want to like continue the conversation by asking like, hey, can you brief me about like what is happening with my leave balance, or like what exactly do you have the information about the leave balance. So then the traditional chatbot usually goes and then like calls an API and fetches the leave balance and then says like, hey Prashant, you have 19.5 days of leave balance available and 1.5 days of available in other things. But then here, ERA acts a bit different. For every other action, it tries to see what is that the end user might be interested to see, or what is that the end user should also be knowing from different other contextual linking point of view. And it tries to connect all the different other possible dots and get the information from multiple other layers. For example, rather than fetching from a traditional screen, which usually in HRMS screens we also see a leave balance, which typically shows this information, but it will also show that there are how many used out of it, as well as like this is monthly crediting, and it starts crediting at the month start as per the policies. It is also giving an insight that let me zoom in a bit so that it's visible to everyone. So 12 days are projected to lapse this cycle, so use them or request to carry forward before the deadline over there. So along with that, it also goes and searches the policy materials available within the HRMS systems and tries to see if there is anything else that the user has to additionally know about that particular details, so that this information clarifies the end user, which eliminates the need for any other further follow-ups. So this is where majorly like usual HRs will receive certain clarification queries on any of the typical data points that end users are given access to or given privileges to. So similarly for every other policies, wherever it is applicable, whether it's encashable, non-encashable, as per the policy, how it works, how it gets credited, everything else are being provided at one glance. Is this driven as a single use case? No. This information for every other requirement that is going to be asked by an user within the system will be answering it in the similar fashion by connecting the dots to multiple other places that the client is using the modules applicable from HONO. So the usual questions around it that are coming in nowadays is like, when we're saying like used from HONO, what if like a client is using partially certain modules from HONO and certain modules from some other place? How does that work, Prashant? So this is a typical question. So let's say if a particular other modules are being used by some other third parties HRMS systems. So if that particular third party HRMS systems provides any APIs, so we will be able to support the same thing as well over there too. So that is something that we are trying to do it, and we are making it almost low code, no code as well. So which can help us understand how to do the things better, so that the clients also with the minimal technical knowledge will be able to make that integrations happen as well from their side too. So I'll also quickly show like how those integrations can be enabled or can be utilized as well. So now let's take a quick look at a few other use cases, how IRA will be able to go and then like search upon. Let's say, for example, being a manager, I might want to have or do a review session with one of my employee, where I want to do some briefing on like how the particular guy is doing. So then ERA can go and collect the information from multiple other touch points from where the information is going to be available. So it is like in this case, it's for Ashish is the person whom I'm asking for, where he is working with 6.2 years in engineering, like so his scoring was so and so in the last few cycles considered, and the CTC cycles, and comparing with the market trends and how much we can think to or align to him, and what is his core strengths that according to the competencies or the skills that has been available within the systems, and based on the recent learning courses or any other peer feedbacks due to which like the system have made a note of it, it is also getting all those details and make the review available at one place, which makes it easier for a manager to have a one-on-one session and get the typical details from there directly. So say if any of these informations, let's say for example, if it is going to be typical sales guy, so the question can be like the sales data has to come from somewhere. Yes, so that is where we also help to integrate with HubSpot also, or I mean any other CRM for that matter, not necessarily HubSpot. We also have done a recent integration of Era with HubSpot for one of the client, where we are getting the data directly from HubSpot with the sales parameters that are coming in, and we are getting the data over there to do that directly. So is it going to be limited to a specific queries or some things? No, in terms of the type of queries that can be asked, so there is no predefined queries that a person can ask to ERA. So the asking queries is bound by the module supported or the integrations configured to ERA. With the type of integrations and with the type of modules it is configured, So the system will be able to go and query any information to the depth in which the client also wants to configure. Even the depth of drilling is also configurable to the extent like how it has to be or what it has to do, everything else as well. Let's say, for example, we are asking about a query on like, can you give me my team's lapsable leave exposure? So then it is giving me like, these are the three other guys like who has got like highest of all the 22 different reportees reporting to me. But let's say, for example, there is not going to some, I mean, as per the policy, whether this is going to lapse or like, or I have to give them some benefit to make them best utilized. Let's say I want to schedule a session with them. I can say, Era, like, can you schedule a meeting with them tomorrow 10 a.m. IST to discuss on this. So without even leaving here or without the necessity for carrying this information to another tool, by just sitting in I mean within the chat itself, so we can even then ask Era to schedule a meeting or like block someone else's calendar. So then it can also check either like the free times or any of those, or suggest different other timings according to how the particular guy's calendar is, and then go and block, because the system knows the user's details, who are they, what are they, everything else. So let's say, for example, there are no open slots for tomorrow, would you like me to find an alternative slot? Let's say, for example, I will instead of saying that, let's say like make it to Saturday 10 a.m. IST. So I know my Saturday 10 a.m. IST is free. So I'm just at least like going ahead. Otherwise, I can go and ask to continue the era to go and find out. Then it can go through my calendar and can find out, and also find from others list also. And then getting up the, now that Saturday 10 a.m. is free. So it is setting up the meeting with the three guys, so that I can get on a call with them and make them understand like, hey, this is what is happening. You might not be able to utilize your usefully, plan it accordingly, or try to see if we can talk to HR or Encash or something. So these kind of like insights can also be then and there be provided. So like say now it has been set up, leave labs discussion is set up for Saturday 10 a.m. and even the generated Teams link is also has been given as a quick access over there. So if we see the restrictions here, because in this particular environment, we have limited the chat to maximum 20 conversations. This is what Aman was also mentioning in his explanations. So why exactly this restriction of like one chat conversation not enabling it? Even we can see the same restrictions is there even for other platform providers or other LLM GPT providers also. It is more towards to like use the LLMs responsibly or use the AI responsibly. So we are trying to do that restriction so that we will not overburdening a chat with the type of information that it has to go and get from the system and overload it so that it is benefitable. Just now the link I have copied, we can see like it exactly have created a Teams meeting invite as well. And if in case we have to just quickly check that out in how it is happening in the Teams side. So I'm just bringing in my Teams okay, window. Let me just go to the calendar. And we can see the leave labs discussion here. So that has been set up for 10 India time, which is 12:30 my time. So that has been set up over here. So do we need to use, okay, because we are in Teams, let me also introduce Teams. I mean, the era can also sit in anywhere, wherever the client wants to. It can be acting as a chatbot within the employee's HR application, as well as like it can be within the Teams itself, so that like it can be installed as an app directly on the Teams too, and can start be utilizing then and there itself. So that if Teams is a collaboration channel or Slack as a collaboration channel the organization is using, so users will be able to use the HR systems also within the same platform and get the same insights as well then and there itself. So that's what it is, right? And typically, so you know that we saw some few transactions like including queryings or like even doing a transactions over there. So let's take a look at some couple of other transactions also. Maybe let's say, for example, as a manager, I want to approve some certain transactions based on a specific criteria. Usually approvals is a traditional use case as well, like many of the other traditional chatbots also will be providing. But let's say, for example, what does Era can do? So while traditional chatbots provides the direct transactions, here based on the data we see, we can also try to act upon a specific criteria that I might want to act upon over here or accordingly. Let's say I can see like Ashish and Anirudh have applied for leave requests and Manthan have approved leave requests. I can just say like approve all AR and leave, but not Ashish. Let's say this is a specific ask as some request from me. I can exclusively ask Era in any way, however we want to, so that Era will understand that these are the different other requests that are pending, and then it will go and filter out Ashish, and it will stop taking action on Ashish and try to take action on all other pending requests of the AR and leave requests over there. So now it is trying to process the leave applications. So where it is trying to now do, and remaining requests are like 0. So we can see here, then now let's go and check, like it is now going to, yeah, it is now approving the AR requests. So now that it is done with it. So or this can be even asked to do it in the background. Let's say, for example, if it is a lengthier transactions, we have 50 or such things. We can even ask Hera to say like, do it in the background. So it literally takes it into the background and will start doing the transactions there, so that we don't even need to worry or wait for all the hundreds or dozens of transactions that are happening over there. So that's the advantage of, and that's the beauty of Era. And we can specifically see here, like I have approved pendingly except those from Ashish, and here is a summary. I have approved one of Anirudh and one from Manthan over there. So the system is literally trying to identify the different other, and we can also see what is that the system is using as a tool or an activity whenever it is being asked for. What is the tool that it is trying to fetch to get this information from? What is that it is the steps, the plan it have created whenever it has to perform a transaction? What is the plan it have created? So system creates a plan by utilizing the LLM capabilities and try to do the transaction over there. So let's say, for example, now that we saw some certain transaction, let's say now as a HR, let's say, or even as a, not as a HR also, it can be anyone. It can be a HOD, or it can be even a manager also. If based on the respective purviews that they are covering to, if in case they want to see some certain analytics or generate some dashboards to share it with anyone, so they'll also have a capability to ask to create any information within the system to generate a real-time and dynamic dashboards, nothing standard. Even if a dashboard is not available within the system, the HRMS system, if a user is asking in a pattern, the system will go and generate the data in that fashion and starts to provide the data over there. Let's say in this case, I asked for, can you show me the leave analytics for the last 15 days? And the system took for the last 15 days data and started to go and query the information from the system and started to show based on, and even the demographics breakdown also will be decided based on how the tools are providing the data to the system over there. So the LLM engines are being utilized to decide how good it is good to break down and how to generate the different types of charts. And the chart types are also not fixed. It is going to also differ, change the type of data it is going to present. It actively takes a decision which is the better way to present the data over there. In this case, the data has been presented by durations, like the full day, half a day transactions, and from statuses by wise, like there is like 89 pending for approval and 39 approved and cancelled, approved for cancellation, some other requests, and how many by leave types also it is able to show the different other leave types, and day wise in the last 15 days, like how each day wise, like the different other leave types that has been taken, along with some certain other suggestions, like if in case they want to continue, that are closely associated with the type of data that we are seeing here. But let's say, for example, now that you have asked for 15 days, so possible assumptions can be like around the same area, you can ask for like 30 days or only for this month, which will specifically then show for June month. Or you can also ask for like attendance analytics if in case that is not your criteria and you want to see the attendance analytics over there. So this rich cards is what is the beauty of Era, not just a traditional chat-based interface where the chats are going to be. So that the same chat interface will also be provided into a possible rich card interface as well, which is being created dynamically on the fly over there as well. Now we can see the same information being represented over here. Easy to read as well. Some people are quite familiar. I mean, like they are very much used to as a chat conversation, so they can quickly use it if in case not by that one. Now that just now we have asked for, like, clicked on that 30-day suggestion shared by the application. So if you can see here, like it now says like 326. So the numbers have changed and like the days have changed, and overall again it is summarizing. So all those different other things that it is getting in. And the analytics can be seen across the modules. So whichever modules are in use from HONO point of view. So all these different other data points, they'll be able to see. Even let's say team attendance summary, or let's say I want to see my team's performance summary. So how is it happening for this quarter or last quarter or last year? So any of those things, the system will bring in a quick dashboards over there. Now we are taking a quick look at the attendance dashboards now to see like how many attendance regularization requests were raised, how many OD requests were raised, and what is the status of it, and day-wise again metrics. Just now whatever it was shown, the system just now have seen how the leave data is presented, and the similar way it understood now from attendance also is having similar data. So it quickly pick up the same patterns and show the data in the exact same fashion without the need for deviation of any of those things, right? So let's say, for example, the same thing. If in case someone wants to see the same data in performance or any other areas as any of those analytics that they want to see as well. So they can also check the team's performance. Let's take a quick look at the team's performance details as well. So let's take in a performance related scenario. Let me zoom in a bit. So over here, so a manager is asking for show me my team's performance. So then it's then without asking anything. So then it was able to understand that currently Q1 is going on. Then it started to go and get the Q1s, and then started to get the details over there, as in like how the reviews are happening, like how many were reviewed, how many were pending, what was the overall review scores are looking like, who are the different performers, like what was their scores that has been looking like, and the leadership board to show like how is it looking like, and categorization of demographics data, and a summarization of like how things are happening, all those different other things. Let's say we will have a continuing conversation, right? Now that we saw that the summary is showing quite a good amount of insights that things aren't really going well or something. So we will have some follow-up questions. For example, I just want to know like what should I be inferring from this particular transaction? So which typically shows that based on this Q1, Q2, Q3 performance, like this is how it is. It is overall is like team average is 0.76, which is not at all good. But then it identified the 3 members scoring. It might be because they haven't submitted or they haven't reviewed. So it is saying like go and take a look at it, all those things. So chase them for getting those things done, so that you will be able to have a quick overview over there. So that's the advantage of having a platform like Era or tool like Era that can help to go and do different other transactions across different other places. And there was actually another query, so that was asked even in one of the other previous conversations also, as in like, is the Era multilingual, or like what will happen if user is going to talk in a different language altogether? Yes, it is being powered by an LLM. So typically it supports multilingual. So for example, let's take we have asked a simple query in Arabic, while the information that has been extracted is using those tools are in English, but the summarization is happening in Arabic over here. So for the end user's convenience, and do I need to have these cards? It is not required for me as an organization. Can I have a clean chat based interface only? We don't want those colors. Yes, it's all possible. Everything can be configured by the admin panel themselves to see like how the workspace has to be configured, how the theme has to be configured. Should the system be supporting rich cards, or it should be only doing a text only controls over there? So now that we saw like how it is being used and how it is being controlled, right? For example, there is a meter that is being shown to each and every user as well for their self-utilization to understand what their usage patterns are looking like, so that like they know how many conversations or how many tokens they can consume for the day to utilize the era, as well as like if in case the end uh, client's admin, if in case they want to see the detailed usage analytics of like how is the metrics looking like, how was the usage patterns of my LLM cost looking like, the admin will have an interface to see like daily day-wise utilizations, like how much, which models are in use, all those different other informations also visible to them as well. Now, if I introduce this one, so how do I even quantify like what is that I'm getting a value out of it over there? So that's the place where we also have a self-reviewable ROI reports for the clients themselves, where they'll be able to understand how the conversations are happening and what sort of conversations are like looking so complex, which a typical HRMS wouldn't have answered that, or like the user should have jumped across like multiple navigations to arrive that particular informations. So it tries to categorize those informations and tries to show the ROI over there. It will also try to then categorize those questions as well, and then tries to answer those specific things like how it has managed to do, even though there were like 1214 conversations happened. It says like 149 self-service tasks were answered, which would have reached out to HR or escalated to HR. It is so that way it is trying to show the metrics, the analytics metrics, which gives them a clear overview of like how it is happening over there. So just now, all this while, we saw only queries on pure HRMS transaction, right? But let's say, for example, if in case we want to see policy queries, how does that even work, Prashant? If someone asks, let's say, for example, I want to see how does a policy works for me, or like how it can be applicable for me. Usually policy documents are like kind of 5-pager, 10-pager, 15, 20-pager documentations, and it can be like role specific, band specific, grade specific, any of such categories. So then that is where the system then can go and even check all your knowledge based queries as well, and can answer the queries responses by mapping it to your own respective query, rather than you going and then like putting up information over there. The system goes and gets the information which is relevant to the respective person whoever is asking, so that they don't need to. And the respective citations also will be shown from which particular section of those pages it has got these answers from, which are relevant to the specific category, or the areas where it is being answered from. The citations also will be provided then and there in the system itself over there. Along with this, so we also have something called agents. Usually because agents are some things, those are kind of a specialized into some particular area, which can be created by the clients themselves. So this is a place where clients themselves can go and create the agents and can start to utilize it. Let's say, for example, in this case, we have an onboarding buddy or a policy expert buddy, which can be used to attack a target segment of users and make the best use of that particular area. Let's say if a particular guy is onboarding today, and if he can be guided to like go and start interacting with the onboarding buddy, which can help you to do all the different other transactions, or for your first 50, 16, 30, 90 days, whatever it might be. So it will be able to get you every other information that you might need to know from an organization point of view. So this is the agent to which like they should be talking about for anything and everything, using which they'll be able to get and full awareness of the organization capabilities as well. Aman, you want to add anything?
No, no, no. No, that was absolutely mind blowing, Prasant. I mean, we of course inside Hono and a few of our clients have already experienced all of this. And the first time I saw all of this when you guys showed us for internal testing, it just blew me away. Thank you for all this product showcase, Prasant. I think we are right on time. Maybe if you want to just show one or two more things, we will
Yeah.
have maybe 1 minute for that, or maybe 2 minutes max, and then we'll hand it over to the People Matters team to take care of the Q&A, because I'm sure we have quite a few questions already lined up.
Okay, so I'll just take only 1 minute because one thing that I am yet to cover, and I think it is important to cover, is mostly on the payroll portion. So because we had to just, I'll just give a quick brief only, just a minute. I won't take much time.
No problem.
Yeah. So all this while we saw different other transactions. So one important thing in employee cycle, or it can be even in payroll admin cycle, or any finance related departments. So where ERA can actually go bring it up, and we can also see that the information was actually masked during the start itself, so that like it provides an advantage for the users also to, like, if in case they are opening up anywhere else and it shouldn't be disclosed, so it also safeguards that interest as well, and not just showing the information in plain numbers by classification. So the informations can be even shown in charts again to show it like more intuitive enough to understand like how their breakdown of like different other pay classification components falling under, so which can give a quick overview to the end users as well. And then coming to that, it's not just that, the system also does check the anomalies for the user if in case they want to see for anything and everything whatever they want to know about the system. They can also ask for any of those things if there is any observations that it has to classify to the user, so then it can also go and check. Let's say for example in this case there is no anomalies detected, which is a very safe thing for the end user and happy user scenario over there as well. And if in case someone wants to download quickly, like they can just download the payslips also on the fly and can utilize it for any of those purposes as well. While this is as an user, so what if like I'm a payroll admin or a payroll processor who wants to actually process the payroll or get the payroll information for, I might want to utilize the reports, right? For example, let's say I might want a salary register report. So let's say in this case as a finance user, so a person is using the salary register information, then it is giving the information over there. Let's say the person have asked for June, so then it has started to provide that information directly. And the same thing for the guy have asked for give me the May details or like June details, August details, whatever my brother thing. It is just a casual chat away for them to ask for anything in any format, in any way, in any language. So they don't even need to worry about, and they can ask for anything that Hono Eras supports. So that
Right.
is the beauty of it. And I will just end the conversation over here and we'll take up the questions.
Thank you, Prasant. Before we take up the questions, let's just cast that screen with the contact details for a few seconds. And then, of course, Smriti will help us pick up the questions that we have gathered. So we'll just cast a screen all of you. It has the contact details. I'm sure all of you want to now reach out to us to get more details, to start having those conversations around subscribing to Era. So we'll show you those details. Um, okay, just 1 second. Okay, I'll cast it. Let me give me 1 second. Yeah. So here is that screen. These are the details. For people in India, you can use this number. For people in Middle East or Africa, we have the second number, and the email address is common. All of you can drop an email to this email address if you like. And if you want, you can reach out to either me or Prasant over LinkedIn, and we'll be happy to connect you with the right people to take the conversations forward. Right? Thank you. Okay, Smriti, handing it over to you. Let's go through the questions.
Great, amazing. Thank you, Aman, and thank you, Prashant, for that really fascinating walkthrough of ERA. So, in the interest of time, I think we can move to a few audience questions. We can take up a few of them. Quickly moving on to the questions. Okay, users ask, and the audience is asking, without traditional dashboards, how does ERA generate and export the complex visual workforce analytics required for boardroom reporting? Aman or Prashant, anyone of you want to take this up?
Yeah, Prasant will of course add details, but during the walkthrough that Prasant took us through, we did see that how a simple query actually resulted in real-time, on-demand generation of charts and graphs as well as insights. So we don't with Era by Hono, at your available to you. You don't need any static analytics to be available to you. You just ask a question. You could ask it any question, as long as the right systems are connected to Era, as long as the relevant data is available to Era, the analytics, charts, graphs, they will be created real time on demand, and you can download them, save them, and then copy and paste them to whichever deck you want to.
Great. I
Of
think
course, we
that's
even have a provision to download it as well. So while we missed it to showcase it, yes, it can be just asked as like download it as a presentable format, can be a Word doc or can be a PPT or a PDF, anything.
And I'll just add a bit of clarity, a bit of clarity, very relevant to this question. The charts that got generated, they do not exist anywhere in the Hono system. They got generated real time live because a specific query was asked. And because that specific query, the response to it required this specific chart to be generated, that is why it got generated live.
great. Thanks for that, Aman and Prashant. I think that was really helpful. So the next question asks, what specific guardrails does ERA use to prevent AI hallucinations when employees' query become ambiguous or market-specific HR policies?
This
Anyone?
one's for
Yeah,
Prashant
I
because it's
will.
about hallucination. But what I will add very quickly is Prashant also showcased a couple of use cases where either information was being hidden because then the exact numbers were not being shown, or Era will say that you don't have access to this employee. I cannot show you somebody else's let's say pay related information or any PII information for that matter. But yeah, as far as hallucination is concerned, Prashant is our AI
Yeah,
expert.
those hallucinations were controlled by specific guardrails that we have the system guardrails that will be taken care of to ensure that this is a pure HR assistant and not deviating anywhere by getting into any geopolitical or any other mental health related things. Those kind of things is purely avoided and it will never deviate. So we have tested it and it is 100% ensuring it won't get into any messings. Yeah.
Great.
And it
I
will
think
also
that's
alert if in case someone is trying to do those kind of things also, it will try to alert the admins as well that this is the type of things happening so that the admins can go and handle the persons who are dealing with this kind of things too.
It actually logs those queries. It will actually reach
But
out. The admin can actually check that did Amandeep try to check Prasant's salary using Era. There will be a log in the system saying that yes, Amandeep did try that, and then whoever wants to have a conversation with Amandeep can have that.
great. That's really fascinating. Yeah. Okay, so I'll just add a top-up question to it. Can I speak to it? Is what one of the question is asking.
yes. So
The
yes, so it's possible. So we can. It is also a configuration. So mics can be enabled so that instead of typing it, yes, they can just speak to it. The system will then try to take the answers and then provide that as well. But we are
but
not giving it a voice back. It is only for the users to speak. The replies are still chat based only. Yes, but technically possible. It is just that it's a costly solution. Hence, we are not opting for it. It's not
yeah.
a viable for HRMS.
Correct. So very simple, and that is what I exactly wanted to add. So the voice option is available. You can switch it on if you want to, but you should switch it on knowing that it will consume more tokens than the chat approach.
Great. Since we're talking about coupons already, Aman, one question asks, what is the for coupon consumption? What is the projected average per employee per month cost of coupons? How do you connect this to guardrails, number of chats, number of messages per chat?
So there is no standard to this. Okay, it will the average cost incurred by an organization will depend on what kind of limits have been set by the organization and what kind of usage is happening across the entire organization. There is no number that anybody can give you. Okay,
So
for one
tokens are
organization.
to address it, to answer the question exactly. Tokens are nothing but words. I mean, a small size of words. So how many words that replies are coming from the typical type of queries that are being asked, and how many queries were asked in one single conversation. So those are all different other things that matters a lot to define, like what is a one conversation size itself. So it can't be predefined. So hence the limit control has been given to the clients themselves to say like how they want to restrict, and over a period also they can keep adjusting the limits as well, like how they want to either increase or decrease or put it into control. Role specific increase for certain roles, they want more. Everything else is configurable.
Yeah. And like Prasant showed us, there are a couple of screens there where you can actually go and see with the right access, which is admin or whoever you want to give it to, what is the consumption, how many messages were sent by a particular employee, a particular location, a particular department, a particular role, whatever you want. You can check all of that. And based on that, based on the consumption numbers, based on the patterns, you can decide, have those strategic decisions put in place about what kind of limits to set going forward.
Great, brilliant. I think wonderful. Thank you for those thoughtful questions, everyone. And for the rest of the questions, please feel free to write to the HONO team. Thank you so much, Prashant and Aman, for sharing such valuable insights with us today. I think the conversation has essentially offered a fascinating glimpse into the future of HR tech. ERA represents an exciting step in this direction, and it has been a pleasure learning more about its vision. On
I'll
behalf
just
of yeah,
before we
yes,
before we sign off, Smriti, sorry about that. I just want to let everybody know, in case someone's wondering, it is called era because it's there's a very specific reason, right? It is actually starting a new era of HRMS experience, right? Something like this has never existed before. We are very proud to have built this, and it's up for grabs for anybody who wants to reach out to us to subscribe to it.
brilliant. Thanks for that, Aman. Thank you so much for letting all of us know that. That's a brilliant thing to say. Also, on behalf of People Matters and HONO, thank you everyone for joining us today. And a special thank you to Prashant and Aman once again for leading such an engaging and informative session. Everything was particularly helpful. We appreciate your time and participation, and we look forward to welcoming you to another session soon. Have a wonderful day ahead, and thank you once again, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you
Thank
all.
you, Smriti.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day. Have a good evening, everybody. Bye.